All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kankadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to our young brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, and I want to go into a lesson, going into, take advantage, of grace, take advantage of grace, okay? And through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, we've been allotted, this grace period, for us, to come back into good standings with our power, okay? As the scriptures say, as it was our mind, to go astray. Matter of fact, let's get that, let's get this in the book of Baruch, okay? Baruch chapter 4. Okay, in verse 28, it says, "For as it were your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek Him 10 times more." Because as we've been separated from our power because of our disobedience, we've been in the captivity after captivity, in which we landed into the worst captivity ever, under the worst heathen ever, Esau, Edom, the nation that hates us the most. Okay, and the truth, as we awaken to who we are, we awaken also to why we're in this situation. Okay, and we realize how good we had this. Another thing, as we awake, all right, out of this stupor, okay, because we was blinded, by the guys of this world, okay. But as we wake up, to the truth, we see how good we had it, man. When we was in good standings with our powers, we always go over, sometimes we go into the golden age of Israel and, just how people had it, and just how, we had that structure, we're a royal, noble people, man, you know, and we, a wise nation of people, man, we're the sons of God, the women, you the daughters of the Most High, man, and as we see how far, we fallen. That's one of the things that make this truth bitter. It's as this kingdom is up and running, it's right there in your face, just how far, we've fallen as a people, you know. And the Lord saw it fit to have mercy on us in the end, and granted us a grace period through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai to where now we can serve him again, because we were separated. We couldn't even serve our power. We didn't know, what was pleasing to our power. Matter of fact, I'm going to get that. Let's go to Baruch 4 and 28. It said, "For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more." And this is a privilege to be here, and we really got to treat this thing as a privilege. One of the things that'll make, us take this for granted is feeling like we're entitled, we're owed something. No, this is a privilege, okay? We're not owed anything, okay, but death, okay? This is a privilege that the Lord allow us, to be awakened to and allowed us to come and serve. Baruch 4 and 4 says, "O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us," man. So the things that are pleasing to our power is made known to us, man. Okay, so we have, this privilege to be pleasing to our power. So this grace period, that's why it goes from, that's why as we mature in the faith and understanding, we go from, living for ourselves, living, for vain, glory and, self-pleasure. We begin to live a life that's more and more pleasing to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. The longer we in the truth, man, the more our life should be geared towards pleasing our power, because we had, majority of our time here in the earth to please ourselves, okay, to please our ego, to chase clout, to try to be this and that, things that are vain. Okay, but now we have this opportunity to be pleasing to our power. We should be tapped into that, man. You know, we this is the thing that we okay. This is like I always go into. This should be our obsession. You know, the Lord is giving us an opportunity to do right. Okay, to come back into His good graces, man. Right before He judges. Look at the timing of this. Right before He's finna judge the earth. Because remember, our power is pissed. You see, that's another thing we wake up to. You know, the Heavenly Father is pissed. Okay, at the status quo of this wicked society, man. Okay, so when you go into let's go here, Proverbs 10. Okay, and this is Proverbs 10:5, and I'm reading the AMP as well. It said, "He that gathereth in the summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causes shame." Okay, so it's wise to gather in the summer so you can have what stored up for the winter when you go into agriculture. Okay, which they even had that term in the world about hard times coming, with what is winter is coming. Okay, which we understand the tribulation is coming. Okay, but we're taking this opportunity. Grace is like that summer period. Okay, before um winter. Okay, to store up. Okay, for winter, and you only have one opportunity to do, you only have one summer a year to do that. If you miss out, okay, if you missed out harvesting and those crops rot, you're out of there. Okay, so you read this in the NLT. It says who it said he who gathers during the summer and takes advantage of his opportunity is a son who acts wisely, man. So we're taking advantage of this opportunity, this grace period. Okay, we only have one opportunity to do this, man, to be pleasing to our power. Okay, before the tribulation comes. Okay, so what we're doing, we're being pleasing to our power during this grace period. We're harvesting righteousness, man. We're harvesting obedience. We're harvesting faith. You know, as the Lord has given us particular gifts. Okay, where we're cultivating those gifts during this grace period. We're taking advantage of this time. Okay, so we can be good on the back end. Okay, so we're like those wise sons. Okay, that's gathering in the summer. Okay, and it says, he who gathers during the summer and takes advantage of his opportunity is a son who acts wisely, man. You know, and summer in this society is associated with what, you know, traveling and kicking it and living. You know, that's what summer is associated with in this society. Okay, just parlaying. You see, but when you go into righteousness, summer, okay, when you go into agriculture, summer was a time of ingathering, okay, because winter came every year, so you had to start preparing early. You know, you couldn't wait till the winter came and no, you had to prepare before then, okay. And it just shows you just how the West and the East, another way how the West and the East is completely different, okay. And it says, but he who sleeps during harvest and ignores the moment, all right, of opportunity is a son who acts shamefully, man. And 2/3, you know, they just here, okay, in this grace period, they're not taking advantage of it. Matter of fact, they're getting worse, okay. You see, they're just gonna be out here, man, with nothing. They're coming into the worst time ever with nothing, no preparation in the spirit, just walking into this time, all right, completely naked. Okay, so as we have been given, you know, this privilege, this opportunity to serve, man, how much more should we be tapped in? You know, because when we serve, we're constantly showing appreciation for the Lord granting us the privilege, man, to be here. Okay, let's go to let's go here to the book of Hosea. Get a couple more. All right, this is the book of Hosea chapter 10. It's the book of Hosea, chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground. For it is time to seek the Lord, Yahweh Bashimal Shai, till he come and rain righteousness upon you, man. So this is the time to sow to ourselves in righteousness, man. Taking advantage of this opportunity, this grace period allotted to us, man, to serve our power, to be pleasing, to seek him 10 times more as we realize, like, damn. And then we realize, what we're coming into. Not only that, why we're in this position, but then the goodness of the Lord, all right, what he has before us, what we're coming into, man. And it's going to be everlasting. You see? So we're constantly sowing to ourselves in righteousness, man. And it's going to pay off forever. What we're doing is going to pay off forever. Listen, how the goodness of our power, the goodness of Yahweh by Shemal Shai. Okay? We're doing, all right, this one time to be rewarded for all time, forever. We're doing this one time to be rewarded forever, man. Come on, man. Where can you go get a deal like that? Okay? Where is any deal that you can match? That you can begin to, oh, okay, this you can't even compare nothing to the opportunity that's before us, man. you know? So, nah, man, let's take advantage of it, man. Let's continue to show that appreciation. Okay? And righteousness is the way. You can try it. Everything else is come on, look what everything else has produced, man. Okay? Righteousness is the way, man. It ain't no debate. Okay, righteousness is the way. Humility is the way, man. Discipline, patience, these things are the way. This is how to be. We're coming back. We're learning how to live. Okay, under Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. Esau taught us how to die in style. okay, this is Romans 13 and okay, uh, yeah, 13 and 11. I'm reading the A and P. It says, knowing, all right, that this is a critical time. It is already the hour for you to awaken from your sleep, okay? A spiritual complacency, okay? And being awakened from, say the darkness of this world, Because like when you're asleep, well, you're just in darkness. You're unaware of what's really going on. So we've been awakened and become aware to the truth, man, the truth of who we are, the truth of the devil, what he got going on. We've been awakened. We've been, all right, alerted to everything, man. Okay? It said, for our salvation is nearer, okay, than when we first believed in Hamashiach. Because every day is a day closer. And we down to the days. Okay? Because a year is only 365 days. So you talking about years, well, hey, you can break it down to days, weeks. We're here every day. Every week is it's closer. Okay? It says the night. Okay, it said the night, this present evil age, is almost gone, and the day of Yahushua return is almost here. So let us fling away the works of darkness and put on the full armor of light. Okay, put on the full armor of light. So the night is almost out of here. This dark age is almost out of here, man. Okay, and we have an eternal kingdom that's going to be established. Okay, but within this grace period, you see, we have the opportunity to be pleasing to our power, man. So that's what the emphasis should be, pleasing to our power, man. As everyone is growing in their life, in their purpose in Yahushua, finding out what that is and leaning into it and growing in this thing, man. Being pleasing to our power while everyone else is playing, you know, and it's gonna suit well for us in the times to come. That's why it's gonna be a major difference between, all right, the tribulation the 2/3 gonna go through, all right, and what the elect, all right, those who have came back with their tribulation experience is going to be like. It's going to be completely different, man. You know? So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edify once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, and hopefully, shalom.